Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Hello guys, so today I'm going to review X-Men First Class. Probably my third favourite X-Men film. Because number one is always going to be Days of Future Past, which I'll be getting to soon. Just 2 more films. Second is X2, just a great film. And this is my third favourite, yeah. An awesome prequel, yeah. Because when it came to their first time doing a prequel, oh, X-Men Origins Wolverine, they flopped so hard. It was so bad. But then when they did it with Charles and Magneto, basically Magneto's, you could say this is Magneto's movie more than it being like shared with Charles. Because they're both, like, you could say equally get, like, the same amount of time of development together. So it feels more like a shared movie. But also kind of setting up, like, the first X-Men to ever exist. Like, the original first class of the X-Men. Yeah. It kind of shows, you know, this kind of time period again from the first film. And what happened to Magneto's, you know, parents and stuff. Yeah, you kind of see his mum get executed by a man that he basically hates for the whole film and tries to get revenge on. Yeah. And they show like Charles, his upbringing. He basically had it good when he was a kid, and he's kind of the first one to actually meet Mystique instead of Magneto meeting Mystique, I guess. And he kind of accepts her for who she is, I guess. Yeah. And sorry for the subtitles, I don't know what's up with that. And then in the Magneto's viewpoint, they're kind of showing how he was kind of forced to learn his powers by, you know, if he doesn't use his powers, this guy will basically kill his mum, and when he doesn't, like, you know, his mum unfortunately dies, but then he just gets pissed and just, like, it's just basically a better version of what they was trying to do in X-Men Origins Wolverine. You know, with the beginning with how Wolverine ends up, you know, opening his clothes and stuff, but they just made it so cringe. But in this, it's kind of like done way more better and not laughable, even though, like, just oh my god, Kevin Bacon's reaction when he actually uses his powers after killing his flipping mum, it's just like "Nein!" Like he's just so happy in German. Yeah. Like, and you know, Magneto's just so pissed and just wants to kill him at that point. Yeah. After he shoots his mum. Yeah. But he still doesn't have full control of his powers to kill him whenever he wants. But yeah, he just basically gets used for possible evil and stuff. And then the movie starts. So our opening to already start the film, because the best thing about this film, and also Days of Future Past, is that they literally don't waste any scene. Every scene matters. It adds so much to the story. You know, just seeing Magneto wake up in how things are for him now in 1961. Then you got Charles. Kind of seeing his personality when he was younger. Like, he was more carefree. He wasn't like so, like how he was in you know, the other X-Men films. Because in here he's kind of a bit more immature and stuff, likes to party and stuff. Yeah, and you got Magneto just being even angrier than we normally see him. But yeah, I'm just flirting with girls and stuff. It's just funny to see with Charles and Mystique in her human form, because she's less kind of like wanting to be in her mutant form compared to, like, you know, in the other films. Yeah. And it's just the way how Charles just got to a point where just like, you have to hide yourself so you don't get in danger and stuff. But then when she meets Magneto, she kind of opens up more in wanting to be a true self. Yeah. And so obviously she ends up with like Magneto. We already know that, but we basically get to see how it started. And we actually get to see Charles be with Mystique first, and how it kind of switches over to Mystique wanting to be with Magneto. Yeah, because you just see that they have a big bond in the old films. Yeah, and you kind of see how it starts in this film. But we just never knew that flipping Mystique had a connection with Charles at all, like basically like his sister. But then he just ends up like, I guess, failing her, and she ends up with the bad guys. Yeah. And just seeing oh my god, you could say this is possibly one of the best revenge films also of all time. Just seeing Magneto wanting to get revenge for his mother's death, having to wait so many years later to finally do it too. You could truly say this is one of the best revenge films ever. Yeah, one of the best. Not the best, but one of the best. Because there's so many good ones. But yeah, him just going around trying to get the information from people. Also, that bar scene was so good. Yeah, which we'll get to. And then you just kind of see what the person who killed Kevin Bacon's character, what he's doing now. He's kind of with Emma Frost, Azazel, which I don't know if it's actually Nightcrawler's father in this film, since I don't really confirm it or anything. Yeah, it doesn't even make a reference like he has a kid or anything, so who knows? Or maybe he doesn't have a kid yet. Then this is when they introduced Moira more to the story. I mean, they kind of teased her in X-Men 3, but in this we actually get to see her as an actual character. Yeah, she's kind of like an undercover spy, I guess. I kind of sees what Kevin Bacon's plan is, like what he's trying to do. Yeah. And Kevin Bacon's character basically scared to do what he wants, to get certain things he needs to like fight against the oppressors, I guess. And at this point, I guess humans don't really know about mutants in the 60s, like in 1961. So he wants to like make them more present, because I guess the government obviously are aware, but the actual normal people are not aware, and the government are just trying to hold them back and making sure they don't really reveal themselves to the public. Yeah, and probably being threatened by the government to not do that. But you know, Kevin Bacon kind of like begins it all, and what Magneto does too. Yeah, he becomes a big threat by the end to the world. And just seeing him in the bar, like, this is like one of the best Magneto scenes in the whole franchise. Like, my god, it's so good. Just seeing him in the bar, just talking to these guys in German, and ends up flipping torturing them to get the information he needs. It's just so good. Yeah. And you just got Charles just partying with Mystique, I guess. He's just so immature in this film. Flipping doing the beer flipping drinking thing that you see in college and stuff. Like, my god. And then this is when he meets Moira for the first time, and they end up, you know, like having a connection together. Yeah, while working on their case together to take down Kevin Bacon's character. And then they basically, I think they end up killing this guy, because his plan was to basically kill all these mutants that could possibly be a huge threat. So he was willing to sacrifice himself to kill all these mutants, and you know, Kevin Bacon's plan. But since Kevin Bacon can basically absorb explosions, yeah, he's basically screwed. He just basically like absorbs the grenade's explosion and then just puts it in his mouth or something, and then he just blows up in like a small way. It's, the way how to do it, I don't know. I can't imagine how that looks, because they don't fully show it. Yeah. Then I jump back to Charles and him trying to work with the government and stuff, MI6 and all them. Yeah, make a plan to take down Magneto. Because I said Magneto because Magneto's not even a bad guy yet, not until the end anyway, of what he ends up doing. Because you know, they're kind of building up like Charles and Magneto's relationship in this film. Magneto right now is only focused on getting revenge. He hasn't even met Charles yet, but he end up actually making them meet each other and have just a great relationship together. Awesome chemistry between these two actors. Yeah. But yeah, and they kind of introduce you how they actually get the X-Men mansion too. Yeah, so they have like their own base of operation, which it ends up being just fully Charles anyway. And then you see that Magneto's basically been able to get on the boat that Kevin Bacon's character's on to get revenge, but he's just, after all this time, not powerful enough to actually fight all these mutants by himself. So he ends up losing, and he ends up escaping on the submarine. And you know, Charles is also there trying to stop him. But then he sees Magneto's kind of like underwater drowning, while also trying to stop the submarine, but he's just not strong enough to be able to stop it. Compared to some of the stuff you've seen him do when he's older, like moving an entire flipping bridge that's who knows how long. Like, my god. Is it like the Brooklyn Bridge or something? I'm not sure. But yeah. They just basically end up escaping anyway. But Charles basically says Magneto, well, I'll call him Eric, because that's his actual name. Yeah. And they end up working together. Yeah. And this is how we kind of meet young Hank McCoy, I guess. Yeah. He's okay in this, but he's kind of like not really accepting his mutant powers. He kind of hates himself, really. And Mystique's just like, why? You're amazing. And it seems like they might have a relationship thing going on in the future. Yeah. And you just basically see them in the submarine and stuff, whatever. Skipping all this stuff. But yeah, in these scenes, you just basically seen Charles and Eric bond together, which is cool. And this is when they kind of introduce Cerebro for the first time, the prototype Cerebro, yeah, which is cool. And he gets to finally, you know, actually see mutants all around the world for the first time. Kind of like seeing the Kid Storm and stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. And then this is when they actually try to find all the mutants, I guess. So yeah, they basically introduce the characters, and then basically you kind of see like Wolverine make a little cameo. Yeah. Just mean all the characters basically, Banshee and all them. I'm not sure what they can do with their powers. They don't really show his until like later on. But yeah, seems like it's going to be a cool team for the First Class. And yeah, this is when they make the Wolverine cameo thing. Like, Charles is basically trying to recruit him, and then Wolverine just goes, "Go fuck yourself," and just keeps drinking. And that's all we get from, you know, Wolverine in this film, which is good for once. They're not fully focusing on Wolverine. We're actually getting to see some other characters get developed. Yeah, it just would have been cool if they actually introduced Cyclops in this film, but I don't think he would have been alive, or might have been just a baby, so probably couldn't really do that. Yeah. Because this is in the 60s. But then there's also another issue of these films. By the time we get to like X-Men Apocalypse, that's set in the 90s. And they still sort of look the same. They should look more like how they do in the 2000s films than still looking like they're still in the 60s, but maybe at least aged like 4 or 5 years. Like, that's basically it. That's kind of the issue when they like jump like 10 years each movie. Because, you know, Days of Future Past is in the 70s, where you can kind of excuse it in that film. But then when you get to the 80s and 90s, how do they still look the same? I mean, yeah, Charles starts to get bald and stuff. Eric has a beard, but they still mostly look the same. And that's kind of an issue. Oh yeah, and just seeing the First Class meet each other for the first time, showing off their powers was pretty cool. Yeah. And seeing what Havoc can do, just basically tell him to get back, and he just like throws like some flipping laser, whatever I should call it, some big energy blast, and just go crazy over it. And then they're just basically partying after that. And they're just trying to still work out a plan on what they're gonna do, but then they just see how immature their actual people who are gonna help fight, you know, against Kevin Bacon's character actually are. Like, they're just so immature. And then Charles just goes like, "I'm disappointed," or something like that. "I expect better of you," something like that. Yeah. And then they're just basically like going on the mission to spy on Kevin Bacon's character, but he doesn't end up turning up yet. It's actually just Emma Frost, but Eric still wants to go after her because he's just so desperate to go after, you know, the person that killed his mum. And you kind of see that Emma Frost also has like mind control powers and makes this guy hallucinate And Eric just disposes of all of his army like they're nothing. Yeah, so cool. And then yeah, we'll just get to the scene where they fight Emma Frost, and then she ends up getting tortured by Eric, possibly gonna kill her, literally nearly breaking her flipping crystal body. Yeah. But then, you know, he ends up getting the information that he needs, what the actual plan is. Basically, Kevin Bacon's plan is to like make World War III happen, basically destroying a part of America and Cuba. Yeah, it's basically making the worlds be at war with each other, and then from the ashes, the mutants will rise and take over. Basically, which I guess Kevin Bacon would be the main leader at that point to take over. Yeah. And it makes you wonder how things would have went if Kevin Bacon's character didn't kill Magneto's mum. Like, imagine if Alice tried to trick Eric when he was a kid, make it look like someone else killed his mum and it wasn't him. Even though I'm not really sure how they would do that, because this actually had to happen for Eric to be who he is for the whole series. So, but I'm just trying to like make like a what if kind of story, but whatever. Because there's a point where, you know, Kevin Bacon's character wants him to join, but you know, it's not really gonna happen because of what he did. Yeah, and then SSL comes, kills this guy using his teleporting powers, like night. What was I gonna say? Like Nightcrawler. Yeah. Everyone's just scared of what the hell's happening because this is their first time being in combat and seeing death. So yeah. And then this guy who basically has like Magneto's helmet, but he's the one who basically wore it first. It kind of stops him from it stops any mind control people from like getting inside of him. It's like some kind of defense that Magneto uses for Charles. Yeah. It just blocks up a lot of things, I guess. Again, you just seen this everybody in this place getting massacred. The mutants are trying to escape, but then, you know, Kevin Bacon's character finds them and tries to recruit them, basically, and what the humans might end up doing if he doesn't join them. Yeah. So basically, Kevin Bacon's character is the original Magneto, basically. Yeah. Like, he was the one who wanted to take a fight to the humans, but in a bigger way compared to... I mean, can you say that? I mean, in the first film, he was just trying to destroy New York, but then after what Stryker does, trying to kill all the mutants, he uses his son to, like, try to kill all the humans, but then that fails. And then in this film, I mean, in the third film, the shit film, he tries to stop the Cure from destroying all the mutants' powers. So yeah, he just wants, you know, mutants to always have rights, but I feel like he goes in a more genocidal way, because, you know, Nazis and stuff, he's from the Nazi times, so he's a lot worse than Magneto in a way, even though, like, there was at a point where he was going to kill the humans, but after everything he's been through, yeah, you'd think he'd get that dark anyway. And then you got this guy, like, just knowing how he works in the flipping comics, and then the way how they do him in the TV show. I mean, in the movie, sorry, in First Class. And this is probably the bad thing about the film, with how they treat his character. You're like, man, he was basically the most OP member on the flipping team. Yeah, you got Charles with what he can do in Magneto, but this guy can adapt to literally anything. If he's drowning underwater, he can just grow things. If a giant meteor is coming and it's going to destroy everything, he would survive. Like, he probably would just turn into like a rock or something and survive or something. Like, and it just completely wastes his powers. Like, it just completely wastes them. And wastes his character, because Kevin Bacon just kills him when... Because he was trying to, like, help out someone who was getting taken. I mean, they went willingly, but he didn't want to lose them. So he tried to help them, but then he just ends up getting killed, and it's just knowing what he can do in the comics and how they decided to treat him in his first war. Like, instead of having, like, it would have made more sense if Apocalypse somehow defeated him, because he's like the first mutant. Like, if we got to like that film and he was there and Apocalypse killed him, because Apocalypse is supposed to be powerful, but just seeing someone like him just die so easy, knowing what he can actually do, it hurts just thinking about it. And I'm not even like a comic book fan to know how powerful he is. I've just seen from like what I've seen on YouTube and stuff. Like he shouldn't have died there. Yeah. And yeah, he's basically forcing this guy to start basically World War III, like make him attack America, and he basically gets blackmailed to do it. Yeah. So and I guess they capture Emma Frost anyway. Yeah. After what Eric did, and she kind of gives like a little hint of what you know, her boss plans to do. And I think she ends up breaking out anyway. I'm not even sure if it's you know, Kevin Bacon's character that breaks her out, but yeah. Then you just got Charles and Eric training with each other. Literally, Eric wanting to shoot him so he can stop the bullet, and Charles just tries to find a way to make him not do that because he doesn't want to shoot his friend who's grown so close to her. Because who knows how much time's passed at this point? Like the relationship's so close at this point. Yeah, and he doesn't want to accidentally kill him, so he tries to like make him move something bigger like a satellite, and he ends up finding a way to make him actually move it, which is cool. And it just shows a montage of the X-Men getting trained. You know, Havoc trying to control his blast, because when he throws his blast, it goes all over the place, and that could possibly, you know, in combat hurt his teammates. Like he needs to like find a way to focus it in like one target. Yeah, and that's what Charles is trying to do. And then with this guy, Banshee, he's trying to control his echo better, to the point where he can basically fly. And I just love how Eric just pushes him, man. It's just hilarious. Yeah. And basically, Beast basically becomes Captain America, just literally doing 3 laps in seconds. Yeah. But yeah, a nice montage, ending it with Eric being able to move an entire satellite, and because he basically channels it by Charles making him think about his mother, like going inside of his mind and making him think about basically one of his best memories of his life with his mother. Yeah. So feeling like emotion, like the anger and emotion like balanced together, it kind of brings out his true power that's hidden inside of him. Yeah. Which he masters by the time he gets to like, you know, the X-Men 1, 2, 3. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great scene, man. Yeah, seeing Banshee fly, just all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a good scene. Just moving that whole satellite. Oh yeah, this scene. So basically they've got like some kind of temporary fix that will stop their powers. I mean, he's more bothered about it because of how it affects him physically. Like, basically his feet just don't look normal, they look like animal feet, and he kind of hates his feet. But instead of like, when he actually decides to use it, because Mystique's trying to convince him to just be himself, not really give in to, you know, what people are saying, and he should be able to be who he wants to be, and what he naturally is, but you know, he just wants to be normal. Because he says like, what I am and what you are, it will never be redeemed as beautiful, so he just injects himself, and you know, Mystique's just let down and whatever. And then instead of actually making him better, it just makes him worse, basically. Yeah. And he becomes blue, and you know, the true beast. Yeah. And I feel like even straight after that, like out of nowhere, flipping she ends up wanting to be with Magneto. I'm just like, what? This scene just comes out of nowhere, and they kind of make a reference to how she looked in the other films, like her older actor. I kind of like, she makes a cameo basically. Yeah. And you know, just the classic meme, like, I want the real Raven, I said the real Raven, perfection. Yeah, man, that was a classic meme. Like, everyone uses that meme from this film. And she ends up being close with you know, Magneto. And then she kind of sees what happens to Beast. Everyone's kind of shocked. Like, and then it ends up flipping killing Magneto with what he says. And yeah, I'm not really a big fan of how Beast looks here. It's a bit too fluffy. His face looks a bit weird compared to how he looks in X-Men 3. Like, he still looks a bit human in the face, but I guess I wanted to go with more like an animal type of face in First Class, which I guess makes sense, but I don't know, it makes him look a bit weird. I'm sorry. It feels a bit weird, but sometimes his like eyes look too high, and I don't know, some things in some areas it just looks weird. Yeah. And this is when Kevin Bacon's character starts to set off his plan to make World War III. Basically makes the missiles launch by themselves, and then Charles tries to stop the missiles. Yeah. And they basically move in to take down Kevin Bacon's crew. Yeah. Then they end up, fighting him. And I think this is when Magneto is able to finally move the submarine, which he couldn't really do at the beginning, and it's just such a good scene. Yeah, and this is basically kind of revealing to some of the government that didn't even know about mutants, like what they can actually do. Yeah, but yeah, it's a great scene. And then once they got the submarine on dry land, they kind of move in to fight him, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, awesome scene. Basically they're all fighting at this point. Got some cool fight scenes. All of them working together. And then Magneto finally gets to see the person that killed his mother and finally get revenge. Charles is able to stop him from hurting Magneto, since I don't think he really had a chance to win by himself. But Eric's able to get off his helmet, and then he's able to Charles is able to control him. Basically, when he freezes people, that's what Charles is able to do. And then Eric is supposed to basically subdue him, but since it's the person that basically made Magneto who he is, he just basically got the coin from the beginning of the movie that was given to him by Kevin Bacon's character and used it to kill him. Yeah, in such a slow, painful way. Oh my god. One of the best scenes in the whole franchise. I know I say that a lot, but this truly is, man. It's so good. Alright, man. It's so brutal too. One of the most brutal deaths in the franchise. Just puts the gun straight through his head, and Charles is basically feeling that pain too, because he's the one who's holding him still. So he just ends up screaming in pain ah! While it's going in his flipping head. Alright, damn. That's some crazy stuff, boy. Then you got Magneto, basically telling the mutants to stand up and take a fight to the humans. And then when he basically launched the missiles after what just happened, Magneto's able to stop them. Charles is happy, but then he realizes that he's gonna basically send them back to the humans. And then Charles does what he can to stop him. Yeah. And then Moira, she ends up trying to kill Magneto, but then he basically reflects the bullet and he hits Charles, and that's how Charles basically becomes crippled because of Magneto, even though it was by accident when Moira was kind of shooting. So then Magneto, he tried to kill Moira, but then Charles didn't want that. Yeah. Then whoever was still left who wanted to join Magneto, they join him, and then they basically leave. So he kind of takes some of Kevin Bacon's crew, and they basically leave together. Yeah. And that's basically how we kind of see how it all begins before the first X-Men film, and it's a perfect prequel compared to the dog shit of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Just such a better film. Yeah. Mutant and proud. Yeah. I can't feel my legs. It just says it constantly. Yeah. And then it just kind of the government just let him, run things here, try to make a better world, look after mutants, make sure they don't go bad. Yeah. And Moira kind of helps with that, making sure the government stay on Charles' side. Yeah. But then Charles decides to wipe her memory, and then yeah, So she doesn't really remember anything until like Apocalypse, which I'll say, yeah. And then they just kind of like show Magneto's comic book outfit and the one from the 90s show. I didn't like how it looked here. I didn't like it. It's just the thing on his head. It doesn't really work in live action. It depends on how you design it, but I just didn't like it here. Yeah. I'm not even gonna bother. Oh yeah, it shows it. Yeah. And that's basically it. Yeah. Amazing film. 10 out of 10. Perfect X-Men film. I mean, the previous one I'd say is perfect is X2, and then this one, and then Days of Future Past. The one that comes after this, I guess we're going to be talking about that anyway, but to me I find it underrated. Some people don't really either like or remember it that well, and rewatching it, I think I like it more than ever now. Like, it's just so good. But yeah, we'll get to that. So yeah guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know if you love this film or if it's your favourite X-Men film. For me it's my third favourite. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you can leave a like, and peace.